Hello guys, Davinator right here, and today we got a review gameplay for you of Sleepy Hollow from 1999, starring Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci, Christopher Walken, and some other people, like Michael Gambon. Now, before I actually get into the review itself, I am just going to say that I am going to start reviewing some horror films. In fact, I'm going to go on a big horror film spree. In between some of the reviews of horror films, I might very briefly go into other genres and review other movies. Maybe if I see a new movie and I want to review that, I'll review that. Or maybe there's just some other movie that I feel like talking about, and then I'll just review that, even if it's not horror related. But for the most part, for a while here, we are going to be doing all kinds of horror films. Now, we're easing into it at first with Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow isn't really a horror film. This really is more like just kind of a suspense action film, to be honest. But I'll get more into that later. But we're kind of easing ourselves into it. We're going to get into some more just straight up horror films later on. And then we're going to do some different stuff. We're going to do some independent horror films eventually. And then something else. We're going to do some really independent horror films. I'll just call them that from now on, or just for now. You'll see later on the channel. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this review. Now, Sleepy Hollow was not a very critically acclaimed movie when it first came out. I mean, it was looked at by critics. People said like, oh, it doesn't really follow the story or the original story very well. It's just, stupid. The acting's bad. It's really corny, cheesy, and hammy, and just stupid. It's not a very good movie. Well, I beg to differ. This movie's awesome. Okay, this is a really good movie. I think it's very entertaining, very fun, very exciting, with great acting, very fun characters, and a very good villain. Now, let's start with just the only really con in this movie. Now, the only con is the story. The story itself isn't exactly a great mystery. It's not the best story I've ever seen. It could have been better for sure. Um, but it does allow for a decent brisk pace pace for this movie. But yeah, now just for the rest of this review, we're just gonna talk about all kinds of positives. Now, first of all, the acting. Now, the acting is kind of cheesy at times, especially from Christopher Walken in his brief segment in the movie. He's pretty corny, not gonna lie, but it works because this film is supposed to be cheesy. It's supposed to be a throwback to old horror films from the 50s and 60s. It's supposed to be, hammy and corny. It's not really meant to be scary. It's just meant to be really fun, and it is a very fun movie. This movie is absurdly entertaining. And yeah, it has all kinds of great, goofy, kooky kind of performances. Johnny Depp, he doesn't play like a Jack Sparrow type character. He doesn't play like, Tonto or his character in Dark Shadows or, characters like that. But he's a kind of normal character, but he's not like, his character in, say, the movie Nick of Time from 1995, which also had Christopher Walken in it, or Secret Windows, where he also played a normal person. But anyway, his character is pretty likable. I thought he was pretty funny. He's kind of a coward, and there definitely is some good comedy related to his kind of cowardice in some scenes. But he's not a complete fool. Like, he's not a terrible person like he kind of is in the story. He's actually fairly likable, and he's an endearing person. He has a good personality. He's good at heart. And Johnny Depp is actually fairly good in the action sequences. And like all the other characters in this movie are fairly likable. I mean, Christina Ricci, she's not like amazing in this movie, but she's fine. Her character served the story well enough. I enjoyed her character. She was alright. And also just Ray Park as the Headless Horseman. I mean, you obviously never see his face because his head is gone, but like his stunt work as the Headless Horseman was terrific. And that brings me to the action. The action sequences in this movie are awesome. Like, there are some great hand-to-hand combat, sword fight, axe fight scenes in this movie. Like, I didn't expect this movie to have as good of action as it does, but it has, like, really good fight choreography. I'm serious. Like, this is almost like just a straight-up action movie, and a really good one as well. There's some very good fight choreography in this movie. Very entertaining, very fun. There's a great chase scene near the end. I mean, there's just all kinds of cool stuff that happens. It's just very fun, exciting, and it gives you very little time to breathe. It's a very brisk-paced, fast-paced, action-packed, exciting thrill ride of a movie. And I also like the dialogue in this movie. Oh, I forgot to mention, the kid actor in this movie actually does a really good job. I liked his character. He's actually kind of funny in some scenes, and just, he was good. And this movie, well, it's not a terrifying film. It's not even really scary. It's just, it is kind of creepy and disturbing at times. I mean, there were a couple parts where I was like, oh, well, dang, that sucks. Like, one scene in particular involving a pregnant woman. I'm not gonna say anything else, but I was just like, okay, that's messed up. Like, that's messed up. But yeah, this is also a pretty violent movie. I mean, there's a lot. I didn't expect it, but there is tons of decapitations in this movie. I'm talking like there's like 50 decapitations in this movie. There's a lot of decapitations, a lot of gore, and it's pretty entertaining. And for a gorehound like me, that appeals to my senses. I liked it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. And it's just like, I mean, there's not really that many things for me to talk about. It's just that this is a very fun, fast-paced, exciting movie that's not boring at all. It's just a fun movie. It's another one of those just perfect examples of a great movie. Just kick back, relax, and just have a lot of fun. It's just a very enjoyable movie. It's film. Oh yeah, can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this. Tim Burton's direction, as for all of his films, really, but especially in this film, it's amazing. This film looks beautiful. The set design. I mean, there's like a tree in this film. It's like the creepiest tree I've ever seen. It's like completely fake. Like it was a prop tree, but it looks so realistic because they did just a masterful job making it. It just looks incredible. Just the set design is awesome. It was also filmed largely on location, which was pretty cool. Or yeah, it's just the cinematography is beautiful. It's just the atmosphere. The atmosphere is really the best part of this movie. This is what makes the movie so great. The atmosphere is so terrific. It's just a great atmosphere. No other way to put it. It's just awesome. And yeah, overall, yeah, again, not much for me to talk about in this movie, but it's just a really entertaining movie. And I'm going to give it an A minus. And as for the gore rating that I'm going to give it, I give it a 5. A pretty bloody. It's definitely pretty gory. I mean, there's a lot of decapitations, a lot of blood spurting everywhere, and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's not, the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. But yeah, if you like this video, please rate and comment and subscribe. And if you want to, you can also share. Get out of my face.